What's up, everybody? Producer Dan here with another Heisman Handicap, and today we're going to look at the Heisman favorite at FanDuel Sportsbook, CJ Stroud. He is plus 200 to win the Heisman Trophy over there, and I think there's a really good reason for that. If you look at his season last year, he had a 70.9 completion percentage, 3,800 yards, and 38 touchdowns in the regular season, and that's before throwing for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl. The Buckeyes lost some talent, but they're one of the few teams in the country that can lose the 10th and 11th pick at wide receiver, and you'd say, well, they're still fine at that position. I think Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave would tell you that Jackson Smith-Njigba was the most talented guy in that receiver room last year. And he had 370 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, and Marvin Harrison Jr. broke out in that game with 3 touchdowns himself. So that receiving room is loaded once again. Travion Henderson was a dark horse Heisman guy for a lot of people last year. So they're going to have a lot of skill position guys, and that offense should be humming again. And the biggest addition for Ohio State wasn't a player, and it wasn't on offense. It was adding defensive coordinator Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State. The Ohio State defense got pushed around a bunch last year, so they went out and they tried to upgrade a defensive coordinator, and it's safe to say they did that with Knowles. Oklahoma State's defense was 3rd in EPA per play defense last year, 4th in defensive SP+, so one of the best defenses in the country. Ohio State doesn't have to have Georgia's defense to be a national title contender. They just need to be good to very good to have a shot to make it to the playoff, and they should be that this year with the firepower that they have on offense. The schedule's tough, but it is favorable in a lot of ways. They get Notre Dame at home to start the season. Game day is going to be there. It's going to be a big game. They have Wisconsin and Iowa from the West, but both of those games are at home, as is the revenge game with Michigan. Their toughest road games are at Michigan State, where, weird things can happen, and Penn State, which can be a tough place to play. But they're going to be a favorite in every game. So why would CJ Stroud not win the Heisman Trophy? I mean, maybe those expectations are just that high. Like I said, if they're favored in every game, if they lose one, it's going to be a disappointment, and that could hurt them. But really, the only other reason why he might be someone to fade is just the history. Since 2009, the only preseason Heisman favorite to win the award was Marcus Mariota. Andrew Luck, Deshaun Watson, and Tua Tagovailoa were preseason favorites who finished second, but there have been as many preseason Heisman favorites to finish outside the top 10 as there have been to finish in the top 2. So maybe the expectation level might be a little too high. Maybe people might just be looking for someone else to bet, but CJ Stroud is the favorite. He's the guy that I would pick right now if I had to pick someone to win the Heisman Trophy, but that's a boring pick, and I don't know if there's a lot of value in that right now. However, I will say that if you are going to bet him, I would bet him before the season starts, because if he puts up a big game against Notre Dame, you're never going to get a price better than plus 200. So that's the assessment. If you want to bet on this, go over to FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can get a $1,000 risk-free bet if you're a new user. I wouldn't necessarily use it on this one, but if you want to, go ahead. Like I said, it's risk-free, so take advantage of that while you can, and we'll be back with another candidate next week.